Hey guys, welcome back to Little Piece of Heaven Farm. Name's Farron. I'm out here in my orchard and I gotta do some pruning on my fruit trees, and I'm going to show you some of this ice storm damage that we have on our fruit trees I gotta take care of. First up is our July Alberta peach, and I'm going to need to go ahead and just cut that off right there because that's not going to do any good. It's on, can't save it. There's no reason, even though it is still hooked up right there, and it will grow down here and produce flowers and probably fruit. But I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that off. It'll easily send out a new shoot. These peach trees, they grow pretty fast, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that off. And I've got a couple damages on this peach tree. See right there, it's split. So I'm just going to go ahead and just get rid of this branch here entirely. And as you can see, this one here is broken off. I'll just get rid of it entirely. And then I'm going to show you how I prune up my peach trees and the apple trees. Now I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. There you go. Nice clean cut. And you just put some of that prune seal on there to protect it. On to the next one. Now you should undercut it. Then go ahead and cut from the top. That'll keep it from splitting down your bark, splitting your bark off, or splitting the branch in half. Should give you a clean cut. There you go. Nice clean cut. Now on the peach trees, it only produces fruit on last year's new growth. So like here's an example here. This is all last year's new growth. And right there is a flower bud, and that'll produce a peach. If you wanted to, you can cut this down to here. And you see there's a little bud here, and bud here will send up 2 new branches. And that's how you prune peach trees. But normally you prune them during the growing season. If you prune them in the winter, sometimes they'll get diseases in the prunes and could end up killing your tree. Now the apple tree is a different story. You could go ahead and prune that during the winter time. But I'm gonna go ahead and hold off on this until spring comes around before I prune any of these off. That's pretty much what you do on a peach tree. But if you prune off all last year's growth, you will not get any peaches. So you got to be careful. And here's my apple tree. This one's Granny Smith. It ripens in the fall, which is great. But you see all that new growth up on top? One thing that's great about an apple tree, you could cut off all that new growth. Because apple trees have spurs, and that's where, like, see if it'll focus. There we go. That's an apple spur. And they'll bloom and produce apples. So technically, on an apple tree, you can prune off all new growth and still get apples. So that's what I'm going to do to this one, prune off all that new growth. I don't need this tree that high. I'm not going to get on the ladder to get those apples. I'd rather keep the apple tree short and spread them out. As you can see, this branch here is spread out. I'd rather do that. So I'm going to go ahead and work on all these apple trees right here. There's one thing I've got to tell you: when you prune them, you want to prune to a point where the buds are facing towards the outside of the tree. That way, if this grows a branch here, it'll grow outward away from the center of the tree. You don't want branching to grow towards the center of the tree. You want to keep the center open. So even though that is a flower bud there, it'll produce a apple there, but it'll also, right here on the side of this bud, it will produce a branch that will grow away from the tree. And also, when you cut it, try to cut it in a 45-degree angle. That way the water will run off it, not sit on top of that cut and rot it away. All right, let's get back to this pruning. The apple tree's all pruned up, ready for another season. Yeah, well, that's how I prune my fruit trees. So, you know, like the peach tree, I'll wait till spring or summer to prune that. And the apple trees I prune during any time in the winter. And there's no right or wrong way. It's your fruit tree. You can prune any way you like. Just remember, peach trees produce peaches on last year's new growth, and the apple trees has apple spurs. So the apple tree, you could cut off all the new growth and still get plenty of apples, because that last year's new growth will have some spurs on it, new spurs. So if you wanted to replenish your tree, you could allow a last year's new growth to remain and cut off the old branch. But it's really not that hard to prune your fruit trees. So it's your tree, you can prune it any way you like, but this is how I do mine. I know it's a short little video, but I guess I'll end it right here, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Bye.